Well, good morning, boys and girls. It's Uncle Aaron again, and I'm so glad that you tuned in for today's video. As always, we'll begin with our action memory verse, followed by our Bible story time, and then we'll finish with a Bible Zone praise song. Are you guys ready to have some fun? All right, let's do it. So this verse comes from the book of Proverbs, chapter 31, verse 8. We learned this last week, but I'm going to go through it again slowly with you, okay? So I'll do it first, and then you're going to do it right after me. Are you ready? Here we go. Proverbs, chapter 31, verse 8. Speak up for those who can't speak. Now remember, we said that means that we're speaking up for those who can't speak. It doesn't necessarily mean they don't have a voice. Maybe it just means that their voice isn't being heard or they're being ignored. So we should speak up for them, okay? So Proverbs 31, verse 8. Speak up for those who can't speak. Ensure justice for those being crushed. Now, remember, ensure means that we have to make sure that something happens. So ensure justice means to make sure that the right thing is happening, that everybody is treated fairly, okay? So God is calling on us to be the ones to stand up for what is right. So let's start again from the top, this time in a really loud voice. Ready? Here we go. Proverbs chapter 31, verse 8. Speak up for those who can't speak. Ensure justice for those being crushed. All right, you guys got that? That's excellent. So we need to remember that God is asking us to be the ones to speak up for what is right and to ensure that everyone is treated fairly. However, it's really important that when we do that, we still make sure that we honor God. That means that we still are obedient to God and respectful to people around us, so we can stand up for what is right and to ensure justice. And that's very important, but we still need to make sure that we honor God while we're doing that. Now it's time for our Bible story time. In last week's video, we saw Jesus heal a lame man. Let's see what happens in today's video.
Jesus was walking with his disciples when he saw a man who had been born blind. The disciples asked, "Teacher, why was this man born blind? Did this happen because of his sin or his parents' sin?" Jesus answered, "Neither his sin nor his parents' sin caused this. This man was born blind so that people could see God's power through him." Jesus would be on earth for a short time, so he healed people to show what God is like. Jesus said, "While I am in the world, I am the light of the world." Then Jesus spit on the ground and made mud. He put the mud on the eyes of the man who was blind. "Go and wash in the pool of Siloam," Jesus instructed. The man went and washed.
Wow.
When he came back, he could see. The man's neighbors were amazed. They took the man to the religious leaders and they asked him how he was healed. "A man put mud on my eyes. I washed and now I can see," he said. The religious leaders were upset because Jesus had healed on the Sabbath again. They did not want to believe that Jesus could give sight to people who were blind. Over and over again, the man who was healed told the religious leaders what happened. The man believed Jesus must have come from God. But the religious leaders threw the man out of the synagogue. Jesus came to the man again and asked, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" The man answered, "Tell me who he is so I can believe in him." "You have already seen him," Jesus replied. "The Son of Man is talking to you now." The man said, "I believe, Lord." And he worshiped Jesus. Our sin makes us unable to see the truth about God. Jesus came as a light in a dark world. He came to give us sight, true understanding of God and His kingdom. Those who trust in Jesus see who He is and worship Him.
So in that video, we saw Jesus heal a blind man. He had been blind since birth. Can you imagine? Now, I actually had the chance to go to Israel a few years ago, and we got to see the place where Jesus met this man, and then we also saw the place that he had to walk to in order to wash the mud off of his eyes. Now, that was actually a pretty far distance, so this man would have had to really trust Jesus in order to walk from where he met Jesus to the pool where Jesus told him to go. Can you imagine having mud on your eyes and you're blind and you've got to walk this long way to find this pool to wash off the mud? That would have been crazy, right? Well, this man put his faith in Jesus, and we can put our faith in Jesus too. Jesus says in the video that He is the light of the world. Now think about light. What does light do for us? Can anybody think? Just shout it out. I might be able to hear you. Yeah, a light helps us to see. So when Jesus was telling us that He's the light of the world, He was saying that He is the light that helps us to see who God is, because Jesus is God. So if Jesus is the light that helps us to see, some of you might be asking, why does God seem so far away sometimes? Have you ever experienced that, where God feels like He's really far away? Well, I know I have. But if I look in my life when God has felt really distant, it's not because He's gone far away. The Bible tells us that God is omnipresent. That's a big word that means He's present everywhere all the time. He's everywhere. So when we feel like God is far away, it's not because He went anywhere. Usually it's because maybe we have gotten distracted, or we're not praying or reading the Bible as much as we should, because those things help us to feel that God is close. They help us to focus on who God is. And usually when I do those things, I start to feel how close God really is. Now think about this. Have you ever wanted to get to know somebody? Maybe it was someone that you met at school or at the park or something, and you wanted to get to know them more. Now, what way can you get to know them? Just shout it out. I want to hear. Yeah, you usually would spend more time with them. That's how you get to know somebody. Now, imagine if you wanted to get to know someone, but then you never tried to spend time with them. It would be impossible to get to know them. Now, the same thing is true of God. The Bible tells us that when we draw close to God, when we come close to God, He comes close to us. So if we want to know God better, if we want to feel how present He is, if we want to feel close to Him, we've got to take that step and draw close to Him. So I want to encourage you this week. If God is feeling distant, if you feel like He's not really there, I want you to spend time drawing close to God. That means spending time praying. That means reading the Bible, learning more about God, spending time thinking about Him, and just thinking of how awesome He is and how good He is. And I can promise you, if you do those things, you will begin to feel God's presence and you'll understand that He is there. So I want to end with a question. Do you know anybody who feels like God isn't there, or He feels really distant to them? How can you encourage that person this week? Now it's time for our Bible Zone praise song. Now, this is one of my favorite songs. It's called Give It Away. And the song is telling us that God loves us, that's just true, but He doesn't want us to just keep the love that He has for us. He wants us to give it away, to share that same love with other people. So as we sing this song and do the actions and have fun with it, let's think about that and think of ways that we can give God's love to other people. So let's jump to our feet now as we sing Give It Away.
I'm feeling good, good, good in a crazy way. God's love changed me more than I can say. Can't keep this in, gotta let it out. Gonna tell the whole world that your love is spinning me round and around. Yeah, it's turning me upside down. I can't believe the way you love me more than I can contain. I'm gonna turn around and give it away. Oh, 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 oh.
want the world to know just how I feel. They gotta know, your love is real. You love me just the way I am. Gonna tell the whole world that
Your love is spinning me round and around. Yeah, it's turning me upside down. I can't believe the way you love me more than I can contain. I'm gonna turn around and give it away. Oh, 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 oh. I'm gonna give it away. Oh, 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 oh. Your love is spinning me round and around. Yeah, it's turning me upside down. I can't believe the way you love me more than I can contain. I'm gonna turn around and give. Your love is spinning me round and around. Yeah, it's turning me upside down. I can't believe the way you love me more than I can contain. I'm gonna turn around and give it away. Oh, 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 oh. I'm gonna give it away. Oh, 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 oh. I'm gonna give it away.
All right, did you guys enjoy that song? I hope so. So, I want to remind you that if you have any questions about anything you saw in today's videos or anything you might want to know about God, I might be able to help you. Feel free to email me at the email address below, but make sure you get your parents' permission first. I'd really love to hear from you guys. All right, boys and girls, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you had a lot of fun and I hope you learned something. So that's all for today. I hope to see you guys again next week. Bye!